It's February 1st, 2015, Super Bowl XLIX. The world is watching as the Seattle Seahawks, the defending champions, take on Tom Brady's New England Patriots in a game that will go down as one of the most unforgettable moments in NFL history. The clock is ticking down. The Seahawks trail 28-24. They've driven the ball 79 yards down the field. The ball sits just 1 yard away from the end zone. 1 yard from immortality. 1 yard from back-to-back championships. And then, the call. Russell Wilson drops back to pass. He fires over the middle, and it's intercepted. Malcolm Butler jumps the route, sealing one of the most shocking endings the Super Bowl has ever seen. That moment changed everything. For Seattle, for New England, and for the NFL as a whole. But what if the Seahawks had done the one thing everyone expected? What if they had handed the ball to Marshawn Lynch, beast mode himself, and let him finish the job? What if the Seahawks ran the ball? Let's step into that alternate timeline. The crowd in Glendale, Arizona is roaring. The Seahawks are lined up at the 1 yard line. The same formation, the same moment, but this time, Pete Carroll doesn't call for a slant. He looks at offensive coordinator Darrell Bevell, nods, and says two words that echo through NFL history. Run it. Russell Wilson breaks the huddle, steps up to the line, and the entire nation holds its breath. He hands it off to Marshawn Lynch, who takes the ball and barrels through the middle. Dante Hightower lunges to stop him, but Lynch shrugs him off. He powers forward, 1 yard, 2 yards. Touchdown, Seattle. The stadium explodes. Beast mode smashes the ball into the turf as confetti rains down. The Seahawks go up 31-28, just seconds left on the clock. The dynasty that could have been, now is. In that instant, football history rewrites itself. The Seahawks repeat as Super Bowl champions. Pete Carroll's call isn't remembered as the most controversial in history, but as one of the gutsiest, trusting his identity, his team's physicality. Marshawn Lynch, already a cult hero, becomes a legend. His run is replayed endlessly, joining the pantheon of Super Bowl greatness alongside Franco Harris's immaculate reception and Montana to Taylor in Super Bowl XLIX. In the real timeline, that interception shattered the Seahawks' chemistry. Players questioned Carroll's decision, the locker room divided, the Legion of Boom fractured. But in this reality, that fracture never happens. The Seahawks return to Seattle as an unbreakable brotherhood. Lynch, Wilson, Sherman, Chancellor, and Earl Thomas, all united, not divided. The narrative shifts from heartbreak to dominance. The 2015 offseason becomes a celebration of back-to-back greatness. Marshawn Lynch graces every magazine cover, sitting atop a parade float in downtown Seattle, holding both Lombardi trophies. Russell Wilson becomes the face of a modern dynasty, young, charismatic, and already a two-time Super Bowl champion. Pete Carroll cements his place among the greatest coaches in NFL history. The Legion of Boom defense, still in its prime, is hailed as the greatest defensive unit of the modern era. 2 titles in 2 years to prove it. And most importantly, the Seahawks' culture of brotherhood and swagger stays intact. The ripple effects are massive. Let's start with the Patriots. That interception, Malcolm Butler's life-changing play, was the springboard that reignited the Patriots' dynasty. It validated Bill Belichick's genius, cemented Tom Brady's legacy, and propelled New England into a second wave of championships. But in this alternate timeline, that doesn't happen. The Patriots lose. Back in Seattle, 2015 becomes the start of something greater. The Seahawks enter the next season with a chip on their shoulder, not from heartbreak, but from hunger. They draft aggressively, retooling their offensive line, keeping their core defense intact. Marshawn Lynch doesn't retire early. Instead, he signs a 2-year extension, chasing a three-peat. Russell Wilson's confidence soars. He continues to evolve into an elite dual-threat quarterback, mixing poise with playmaking. The Seahawks finish the 2015 season 13-3, the NFC's top seed once again. In the playoffs, they dispatch the Panthers, then face Aaron Rodgers and the Packers in another classic NFC championship. Once again, Seattle wins, this time more decisively, as their experience and chemistry overpower Green Bay's offense. Super Bowl 50. Instead of Carolina versus Denver, it's Seattle versus Denver again. A rematch of Super Bowl XLIX. Peyton Manning, now older and slower, faces the same nightmare defense that destroyed him 2 years before. This time, it's even worse. The Seahawks win 34-13. Marshawn Lynch runs for 120 yards and a touchdown. Wilson throws 2 scores. The Seahawks become the first team in nearly 2 decades to win 3 straight championships. A dynasty unlike any since the 70s, Steelers is born. The Legion of Boom becomes the modern equivalent of the Steel Curtain. Richard Sherman's name echoes through history as the fearless leader of a secondary that terrorized quarterbacks for years. Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor redefine the safety position. Bobby Wagner cements his legacy as one of the greatest middle linebackers of all time. Off the field, the Seahawks' influence reshapes the NFL. Their brand of physical, aggressive football becomes the blueprint every team tries to copy. Defensive coordinators around the league design schemes around Legion-style coverage, long, rangy corners, physical safeties, and disciplined fronts. The boom mentality spreads. Offensively, teams look for balance, a powerful running game anchored by an intelligent quarterback. The idea that you can win through toughness and unity becomes gospel. And then there's the legacy of Marshawn Lynch. In reality, his career ended with a bittersweet note, short-lived retirements, brief comebacks, and the haunting question of, what if? But in this world, he's remembered as one of the greatest running backs ever. His 1-yard Super Bowl touchdown becomes his defining moment. His career stats climb higher. Another 3,000 rushing yards over the next few seasons. More touchdowns. More beast-quake moments. He finishes with over 12,000 career rushing yards, multiple championships, and a Hall of Fame gold jacket that no one questions. His personality, his defiance, humor, and authenticity turns him into a cultural icon on the scale of Muhammad Ali or Dennis Rodman. Russell Wilson's path changes too. In our world, that interception marked the beginning of skepticism. His leadership was questioned, his relationship with teammates strained. But in this timeline, Wilson's credibility never wavers. He becomes the ultimate winner, the youngest quarterback with 3 Super Bowl titles, the new face of the NFL after Brady's decline. Endorsements, awards, and respect flood in. He's the modern Joe Montana, calm, clutch, unshakable. His name sits atop MVP ballots year after year. When future generations debate the greatest quarterbacks ever, it's Brady versus Wilson, not Brady versus Manning. Even the Seahawks fan base transforms. The 12s become the NFL's most iconic fans, their noise and passion fueling the longest dynasty in modern football. The Pacific Northwest becomes football's epicenter. Seattle, once starved for championships, becomes the city of champions. The Seahawks' legacy shifts from 1-yard heartbreak to the team that could not be beaten. And let's talk about the ripple effect beyond Seattle. Without Brady's late career dominance, the balance of NFL power shifts westward. Teams like the Packers, Steelers, and Seahawks define the decade. Drew Brees and the Saints grab another ring. Aaron Rodgers gets one more. The AFC, without New England's stronghold, becomes an open battlefield. The Chiefs rise earlier, perhaps led by a young Patrick Mahomes taking advantage of the power vacuum. History bends, all because one play call went differently. Now imagine how we talk about Pete Carroll today. In our world, he is remembered for both brilliance and heartbreak, the coach who built a dynasty and watched it slip away at the goal line. But in this alternate universe, he's remembered as one of the greatest coaches in NFL history. His energy, positivity, and always compete philosophy lead to sustained excellence. Instead of comparisons to Belichick, he becomes the standard for modern coaching, balancing discipline with joy, intensity with trust. His players adore him, his rivals respect him, and his legacy shines untarnished. Even the famous Malcolm Butler moment changes lives in reverse. Without that interception, Butler remains a little-known cornerback fighting for a roster spot. The Patriots' defense doesn't have its breakout hero, and the phrase Malcolm Butler interception never enters NFL lore. Instead, Marshawn's run, becomes the defining moment of a generation. NFL Films immortalizes it in slow motion. Beast mode lowering his shoulder, the pile surging forward, the ball crossing the plane, and Seattle's sideline exploding. It becomes the most iconic Super Bowl play of the 21st century. As the years go on, the mythology of the Seahawks only grows. Kids wear number 24 jerseys in playgrounds. Highlight reels of Marshawn Lynch runs, Richard Sherman interceptions, and Russell Wilson deep bombs flood every NFL anniversary special. Seattle's identity as a city changes too. No longer just coffee, rain, and grunge rock, but football dominance. Their dynasty stretches from 2013 to 2017. 5 straight NFC championships, 3 Super Bowls, 2 MVPs, and a cultural footprint that lasts decades. When we look back at the NFL timeline, that one decision, run or pass, stands as a fork in football's road. In reality, it led to heartbreak, finger-pointing, and what-ifs. But in this world, it becomes the decision that secured greatness. The Seahawks become what the Patriots were, the team of the 2010s. And as Tom Brady's legend fades earlier, the story of football's modern era changes forever. In the end, as the confetti falls in that Arizona night, Pete Carroll smiles, Russell Wilson embraces Marshawn Lynch, and Richard Sherman shouts toward the crowd, "We told you!" The Lombardi Trophy glistens in the desert lights. Back-to-back champions, a dynasty confirmed. And years later, when fans replay that moment, there's no heartbreak, no what if. Just the sight of beast mode crossing the goal line, the 1 yard that changed everything. Because in this alternate history, Seattle didn't throw it. They ran the ball, and the dynasty lived on.